Hi guys, good to see you again. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. I've had another good week and managed to get out with the camera. I keep saying that as if we can't get out with the camera at all, but it's tricky times at the minute. You know, such as myself, not going out vlogging at all. Just don't feel right at the minute, but not too many more weeks now to wait and then I can get back out again. But anyway, this week's video, I've had a few questions on various parts of my editing and my post-processing and what I do to images, such as my woodland photography and how I make it a bit more moody. So I just thought I'd run through start to finish on an image, a woodland image, and show you the different areas of Photoshop that I use. And yeah, so I've got the screen recording, but before I do, I've treated myself to if you can see that very well, the colours, yeah, you can see it. The colour's not great though in this light, in the studio lights, but I treated myself to a canvas of my favourite oak from the New Forest. So every time I go in the living room now, I can look at this wonderful oak, and it just reminds me of the good times I had in the New Forest. But I've got a little cubby hole just down in the living room, and you know, it's got a nice arch to it, like a TV cabinet type shape, if you like. And with a little arch on it, and it had a little bit of a space in it, a nice square space, so I did a square crop of this, and yeah, that's gracing the living room now, so chuffed to bits with that. Not the most expensive of canvases, but yeah, looks great, I think you'll agree. But anyway, I'm going to miss that oak. I'll hopefully be back down the New Forest in the summer and go and have another go at it perhaps, but anyway, right, let's crack on with today's video. So, I'll jump onto the screen. So, when I first download images, I obviously keep them in RAW format, in the CR2 format off the Canons, and I'll put them in a file that I call RAW, so that's in there ready. I've also got a Photoshop file, which is for any layers that I make, and then I've got a JPEG file for once I flatten the image, and then I've got a low-res file as well to put the low-res images in, you know, for emailing or anything like that, or for Insta, just to save sending a massive file onto Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. So anyway, let's go into the RAW file and drag that down into Photoshop, and we'll get it opened up. And there we are. It all RAW files, I'm sure you know, always open up with the Camera Raw facility there. So with all your sliders. So what we'll do is, for a start, I'm just going to hit open for a start and open that. And as you can see, it's quite a messy frame. There's lots of stuff in here that I don't want. You know, you got this branch here that, and this broken branch here, but especially this branch here. It really does. It almost takes your eye straight off the main subject. So not the best composition, but I think I was trying to dodge this dead bracken here, this dead ferns. So I'm going to make a crop first, and it's just a totally uncut straight crop. As you can see, both boxes at the top here, no figures in them, and I'm just cropping to eye really. So probably going to take that right into about there somewhere, I should think. Let's just try that. And I'm going to take it just past where that broken branch is laying, so to about there. And then obviously we're going to eliminate that branch, so I'm going to take it down to about there, probably, something like that. And then we'll eradicate most of this dead fern. Just leave it about there, I think, something like that. I am going to add a vignette at some point, so it'll hide most of that. Might just take that in a little bit. That is not looking too bad. It's almost a square crop, or a 4x5 crop if you like. It's not far off. So that's looking nice. Right, so first off, I'm just going to add a bit of a vignette. So on the Mac, Shift, Command and A brings up your Camera Raw filter, and right at the bottom is your vignette slider. So I'm just going to give it a bit of vignette just to start with. That'll do for now. I can add to it at a later date, so we'll OK that. Right, now I'm going to go straight into layers, duplicate layer, OK that, and I'm going to add the Autumn effect straight away. So into blur, Gaussian blur, and then there's no real set limit on the percentage in Gaussian blur, just so that you can roughly see what the image is. So we'll leave it at that. So that's now selected. Let's just get rid of the layers, and then Command L, and then you take your high tones just into the curve, just watching that burnt out area there. take your low tones into the curve and then hit OK. Looks an absolute mess, but then back into that layer and then take your fill down to between 10 and 20%. Just gives it a nice soft feel. So let's go to 15 for a start. That doesn't look too bad. So we'll go at that. That looks okay. We'll just take the crop tool off. Now the tree is a little bit soft. So what I'm just going to do on that Autumn Effect layer, I'm just going to rub out the Autumn Effect on the actual branches itself. So I'm just going to make the brush, the eraser tool brush, just a bit bigger with the square brackets. And then I'm just going to go over the tree, just the foreground elements of the tree, just to there, just to bring the sharpness back on that moss. I don't really want the Autumn Effect on that too much. We can always, I'll probably add another Autumn Effect in a bit anyway. Let's just make that brush a bit smaller and just run across this detailed bit where the moss is. And just along there, make it a bit smaller again. So I am rushing this a bit, guys. Don't want to hold you up too long, but you know, I would go over all of the branches. I'm just going to do this just a bit quicker than I would normally. Let's just take that up there a bit. And up there. We'll bring that detail back in a bit. Just takes the softness off a bit. Let's take them back as well. And I think that'll do for now. Right, that looks a bit better anyway. Right, next. Now what I'm going to do at this point, what I do throughout an image edit, I'm going to save that in the Photoshop file in its layers. So I'm going to save that in its layers, and then I'm just going to flatten this just for argument's sake, just flatten that. Right, now I'm going to go into Lumenzia, which is working in the tone masking, in your layer masking, and I want to just highlight or emphasize all the highlighted areas on this tree and on the branches, and also this background, because I want it to be nice and backlit as well. So as you can see, I'm going to work in the light tones. So let's just have a look at that, see what it, and obviously it's the white areas that you're going to be affecting. So let's just go to LM1. Right, let's stick with LM1. So hit dodge and burn. This Lumenzia, I've spoken about it 2 or 3 times in the past. It's about a £35 plugin from a chap called Greg Benz. I love it, I live in it. Right, so I've got my white brush selected. Let's just take the brush down in size to about there. I'm at 18%. Let's take it to 50% opacity, and then let's just run along the highlighted areas. That looks okay. That doesn't look too bad. Make the brush a bit smaller with the square bracket keys, and then again I'm just going to run up there, anywhere where you want the viewer's eye to look really. So all these highlighted areas, just really highlighting that moss just on that edge there, and then I might just take it down the side of the tree there, look a bit, and then just here, anywhere where the light is, up there, and then let's just highlight that a little bit. That's nice. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make a massive brush now, and I'm just going to, don't forget, it's only going to work on the highlighted areas, the white areas that was on that layer mask. So one click, and it's just going to highlight that. Let's just take that down a little bit. Highlight this area a little bit. And now I do like the way that the light is catching this bracken, so I'm just going to run it just along the top of the bracken there. Just like that. Now then, let's go back into Lumenzia again. I'm going to choose the dark images this time. Let's go D3, D2. Right, let's just go D3, and again it's the white areas that it's going to affect. So dodge and burn, not forgetting to change your brush to the black, and then I'm just going to take that up there, because that vignette, it could just do with a bit more vignette perhaps. Let's just go out once. I'm just going to run that down there, look. That's probably a bit much. Command Z takes it back a step. Let's go down to about 25% and just run it around there, look. Just a little bit. That's looking all right. because I want your eye, the viewer's eye, to obviously go straight to the lighter areas. So that's looking quite good at the minute. Right, now I would usually save that again, save my layers, but just for speed I'm just going to flatten that. Now I'm going to go back into my camera raw filter and just work my way down the sliders. Oh, it hasn't flattened it. Why has it not flattened it? Come on, flatten it. Please, thank you. Right, has it flattened it now? Yes. Right, so that's flat again. I say I would usually save in layers, but just to save a bit of time. So I'm going to go Shift Command A, which is a shortcut for the camera raw filter, and just work my way down the sliders. So give it a bit of contrast perhaps, just to bring a bit more mood in. That's nice. Highlights, just bring up the highlighted areas a bit. Not too much shadows. That's nice. Whites, not too much. Now then, that tree is a little bit soft, so I'm just going to add a bit of clarity into there, just to make it pop a bit. That's about right. Right, that's okay. Now then, I'm going to duplicate the layer again, and I'm going to hit the camera raw filter again, and I'm just going to use the dehaze tool just to give it a little bit more of a misty look. So let's just highlight everything a bit. That's looking nice. And then I'm going to rub out, I'm going to use the eraser tool just to rub out the dehaze on the tree itself. So this is a bit quick again, because obviously I want the haze to be at the back of the frame, if you like. Let's just take that brush a bit smaller. That's nice. So I'm going really quick, guys, but I don't want to spend too long of your time, but you get the idea. Let's take the dehaze off that as well. Making them a little bit black, but that's okay. That's looking all right. Right, quite happy with that. And then what I am just going to do is take the dehaze off the foreground, because obviously we want the haze to sort of drop off a little bit. So we'll just take it off there as well, looking just down there, and then that'll do. The rest of it can be hazy going off into the backdrop. So that's looking quite nice. Right, I'm going to flatten that again. Again, I would save it in layers, but we'll just keep going as a flat. So that's okay. Just going to look at the colours and try and just take a bit of the warmth off, make it a little bit cooler. Just by using the colour balance slider in the mid-tones. That's looking nice. Now what I am going to do, I do like this bracken, and I'm just going to go into Command U, into saturation, and just work on the reds and see, let's just slide it up. So it's not really so that's 16. Just want to bring that red, because it is quite a strong element of the frame. So let's just take it to 20. That's quite nice, we'll go with that. Right, I'm just going to go back into camera raw filter again, and I'm going to go down to that vignette. Just give it a bit more vignette, just to give you that tunnel vision and make the viewer really look at the tree itself. That's giving it a lovely bit of atmosphere now. That's quite nice, that is. I'm quite liking that. Right, I'm going to go and duplicate the layer again. Again, this would all be in layers as a rule, and I'll just keep saving. So I've got in the background copy filter, I'm going to give it a second Orton effect. So into Gaussian blur, blur that off, filter. Now I've already been into filter, you Wally, you get carried away. Command L into levels, take your high tone slider into the curve, your low tone slider into the curve, that's enough. Into fill, take it down to 10%, something like that, and then just slide away until you think till it looks like it's overdoing it. I mean, 26%, look, it almost looks out of focus, so we'll just take it back to about I don't know. Let's say 10%. Let's say, ooh, let's go 12%. 12%. Flatten that again. We're not far off now, actually. I might just give it a little bit more of a crop, because these bits of bracken here are just making my eye go down the frame a bit. So I'm just going to take that up a little bit. That's looking better. And we can darken them off. Let's just go into Lumenzia. That's right. So we'll leave it on that. Dodge, dodge and burn. I've got my black brush selected. And now I'm just going to darken that off a bit. Let's see if that's, I don't know if that's made it better or worse. Let's darken off the whole area. Let's just go into there and just run it along a little bit and then up there a bit. Just add into that vignette. That's quite nice. Let's just go Command Z. That's alright. I'm just gonna, it's just a little dark patch there. That's better. Let's take the opacity down a bit. Make the brush a bit bigger and just try and fill in that area there a bit. That's better. That is really highlighting it quite nicely now. So I'm going to flatten that again. Again, I would save it in layers. Into camera raw filter. I'm just going to go down the sliders again. So let's look at exposure this time. See if we can just, that's all right. Contrast. Highlights. We'll just take them highlights down a bit. They're probably a little bit bright there, see, on the top of that bracken. Let's take the shadows down a bit. Don't know if that vignette is a little bit overboard now, but anyway, you get the idea. Might just give it a little bit of clarity. That's nice. Right, we're not far off now, I don't think. I'm just going to go back into colour balance and just, come on, okay that. Just going to go back into colour balance. I'm going to go on my highlight tones. Just see if it needs a little bit of red. No, I don't think it does. What I am going to do is just go Command U into saturation and take all the saturation down a little bit. That's probably better. Something like that, I think. That's looking quite nice. Just going to go into adjustments and just look at the brightness. Just brighten everything up, and then I'm going to go into my levels and just take the mid-tones down a little bit. That's nice. And there we are. That's not too bad. How long have I been going? Crikey, I've been going 18 minutes. But don't time fly when you're having fun. But that's not too far off. So I've used Lumenzia to work on the tones. I mean, I could, I've not really gone over it before, but I could go onto the dark tones. So let's go for D2. Let's go D1 then. Right, let's go dodge at that, and let's see if we can add a little bit of red, or a little bit of a red magenta-y tone to, let's just go on to something like that tone there. So now I know the tone, let's go for a bit more, let's go for that tone, bit of pink, and see if we can add it just in there. Let's just add into that bracken a little bit, and just in here as well. So I do like those red tones, making it deeper, and let's see what that looks like with and without. Hardly any change, just a subtle change. It's just added to the reds a bit. And you could do the same with the green. So I could go back into Lumenzia and I can go to those highlight tones. So obviously these areas here that I worked on originally, this is just an example of what Lumenzia can do. So let's click on that, and then let's click on yeah, that's okay. Let's go with that green just for instance. And then we can just add a little bit more of a paler green into there. Let's take it up to 50% just to see what that does. And you can really see it's adding to those highlights again, which is just another way. Instead of using the white brush, you're just using a coloured brush, and it's just highlighting those higher tone areas that the light is catching in amongst the branches. Again, real subtle adjustment, but it does make a difference. So if I now go like that and take the layer off, you can see the difference. Not a lot, but just a little bit. You're not overdoing it. In fact, you can only really see a difference there. But anyway, I'm quite happy with that. I don't know if it needs a little bit more blue, just to really give it a bit of mood and atmosphere. Certainly got enough depth now with that dehaze tool. It was a misty day anyway, but not overly misty, so I've just added a bit of mist with that dehaze tool and then rubbed it off the tree, you know. But let's just go into colour balance again, leave it in the mid-tones. I might even just use the shadows. Let's just see what a bit of blue on the shadows does. Probably too much. That's not, yeah, that's about right, about +7, I would say. Let's just go before, so that's before. Yeah, it adds a little bit of blue tone to it. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It's just, is that on the screen? Yeah, it's on my screen. You can't see it on the screen recording, but anyway, so that's basically, obviously the crop tool to start with. I cropped the composition to what I think looks good to the eye, and then a bit of vignette. The vignette does look a bit strong on that, but I have rushed it a bit. But you know, and the colour tones, so your colour balance sliders, your saturation sliders, Lumenzia in your white and black tones, as well as your colour tones, like adding a bit of red, bit of magenta to that bracken. And now the viewer's eye, because I've put that bit of a vignette on it, the viewer's eye goes to the tree and then your eye follows around the tree into that light area and back to the tree. It keeps your eye in the centre of the composition, which is quite nice, because there's quite a lot going on. But I say, I've just added a nice mood to that image now. I've left that bracken playing a bit of a role in the background. The highlighted areas on the dead branches on the foreground floor, they've still got a bit of highlight tones to them. So yeah, quite happy with that. So that's a really quick edit, but you get the idea now, using various elements in Photoshop. So hopefully that's helped you out, guys. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just save that and show you how I save it. So I'll save as, so I'll save that first off. Obviously it would be in layers, so I'd go into that PS file, I'd save it in a Photoshop document, so I'd save that. Let's just replace that, for instance. So we're just going to save that. Now I'm going to flatten it. It's already flattened, but it would have been in its layers. So I'll now save that in what I would call my JPEG file. So in the JPEG file, come on, are you going to save? Oh no, it's because I didn't change the Photoshop. So let's just go back into that, back into there, JPEG, change that to JPEG, choose the JPEG. That'll then save it at a full size. So it's still about, I don't know, 12, 15 megabytes at the moment. Now for Instagram or anything like that, I think the longest edge in Instagram is 1350 pixels. So I'll go to image size, and the width is the widest area. So I'll just make that 1350, for instance, just for Instagram. And then I'll save that in the low res file, in there, saving it as a JPEG again. And that's that sorted. And that's that. So as you can see, 100% now, that's 100% at that. So if we now take it off and go back to that full size, that's 100%, and make a lovely print that would, or a canvas or whatever. So yeah, obviously I've cropped in quite a lot as well. I've probably lost half of the file, the sensor size, if you like, by making that quite a drastic crop, but still big enough to print anyway. So yeah, so that's, let's just open the original and I'll just show you the difference. Go into the raw. So there's the original. So it opens up the camera raw filter automatically. Well, it does on my Photoshop anyway. So there's the original, there's the edited version, a lot more moody, cropped in, got that vignette. I've highlighted the lighter areas, given it some dehaze, messed about with the colours, you know, on the bracken and that. Increased the highlight tones on the branches, and yeah, quite happy with that. Let me know if you do it any different, guys. Every day's a learning day in photography. I say, this is an image that I overlooked back end of last year, shot from the forest. Didn't quite have the same editing skills as what I've got now, so I've been going through my images just lately and using the new editing skills that I've got, and managed to make this into quite a nice image anyway. My sort of taste, you know, a bit of atmosphere, a bit of mood, and yeah, so there's before and there's after. Happy with that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, guys, what you think, if I've done anything different to how you do, and if you know of a quicker way. A lot of people work in Lightroom. I haven't yet. It's a big fault of mine. I don't go in Lightroom enough. I tend to stick to Photoshop. But yeah, let me know if you do it a different way. Hit that like button, guys, that'd be much appreciated, and let YouTube know that you enjoy the content on my channel, and subscribe if you haven't yet, that'd be great, and hit that notification bell. And yeah, look forward to your comments, guys, and here's to another week. Have a great week, and I'll catch up next Sunday. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Catch up soon.